did I get this GPA? Well, you see, it's kind of a long story. So, the story of how I got a 2.8 GPA. So, I want to first start out by saying that I do attend Penn State University. If you haven't watched my first video, you wouldn't know that. Or if this is your first video watching of me, if I'm already made 15 videos by now and you're just watching this one, I do attend Penn State University. This is my first semester, and I am a computer science, I am a computer science major. So that is specifically computer science. This is not really applied to computer engineering, as your classes will be a little bit different than mine. And so your load is going to vary. So you can't really judge it too much off of computer engineering, although I do have a roommate that is a computer engineer, and it's pretty similar, but basically the biggest class difference is going to be like your chemistry. But as you go on, our class schedules get a little bit different. So I'm going to be speaking specifically about computer science. So I'm just gonna go class by class. So I'm gonna start with the required classes and then go to the classes that were electives and I just did for gen eds. That actually turned out to be pretty fun, and I would recommend you taking. But first on the list we have Math 140. So it's called Math 140 at Penn State, but it's basically just Calc 1. And this is the class that basically produced the 2.8 GPA that I have right now. If I was able to pass this class, I would have been at like a 3.2, 3.1. And so, yeah. So let me just give you the story of what happened there. So I think that this teacher was not very good. I definitely didn't get a very good teacher, just from kind of canvassing the class. People were saying that he wasn't teaching it either the correct way or he wasn't teaching enough. And he just kind of expected us to know things that we needed a little bit of a recap on. I ended up getting the exact same score on every single exam in that class, which is just crazy. I mean, I calculated the odds of that happening, and the percentage chance is just like 1 in a million. I'll put the actual percentage chance on the screen right now, but it's just crazy. So I ended up getting a 61 on exam 1, exam 2, and the final exam. And I have no idea how I achieved those scores. So the first exam, I was like, okay, I know this stuff. I've already taken Calc 1. So I'd already taken Calc 1 in high school, and I got an A plus in high school. And I wasn't at like, a joke high school. I was at a decent private high school, but apparently, it didn't prepare me for anything. No, but I went into the first exam. I was like, okay, I pretty much know this stuff. I'm going to study probably like 2 or 3 days before the exam and just, go with the flow. I'll probably get around an 80, 85, and that'll be fine. I was really just trying to get a B in the class. And so then I get my results back and I get a 61. And I'm like, well, I have to like look at I have to look at what I got wrong and all of that. And so I get it back, and basically the whole back page, which was worth, I think it was like 20% or something. Well, I think the back page was worth like 12%, and then the other side of the back page was worth another 8%, so it ended up being like 20%. And I just miscalculated all, like they were all the same type of problem, and I miscalculated by every single one of those problems by one. So I ended up getting 0 out of 20%. So if I got that 20%, because I knew how to do the problem, if I had gotten that 20% added onto my grade, obviously you can do the math, that's 81%. So I was like, okay, well, I just messed up on this exam. So yes, of course, it puts the pressure for me to do good in exam 2. But I was like, okay, math is my best subject. I'm pretty good at math and science. That's why I'm a computer science major. So it wouldn't be a problem to get like pretty much a 90. I really wanted a 90 or a 95 going into exam 2. And so, of course, I started studying way earlier. I got a tutor, and I was like, okay, no shame, gonna be just gonna ace this test. And so I go into exam 2 thinking I know everything. And about halfway through the test, I realized that like most of the test is now not multiple choice, it's just short answer. And so that really threw me off because our last test format had been mostly multiple choice and then only a few short answer. So I wasn't able to really finish the exam. I was able to finish all the problems, but not to the best of my ability, of course. So I wasn't able to answer every single like portion of every single problem. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll probably land around at 82 to 85, just because I missed a few points here or there by not being able to finish the whole problem, just due to lack of time and just not knowing how to manage my time because I didn't know the format. Now, just to insert here, all of the other math teachers alerted their or notified their students um, to the format of their test. And how I know this is because, like I said, I have a roommate in computer engineering, and he's also taking the same class. You still have to take Calc 1 or Math 140. And he said that he was aware of this. Now, of course, he's not going to tell me because he thinks my teacher told me. It's not, obviously not his problem to tell me. But I'm like, oh, wow, that's great. But anyway, I get the test back and I get a 61. And so I'm like, how did this happen? Like, wow, like a 61 both times, it has to be a Scantron error or something. And sure enough, I get the test back and it's really a 61. Like, I just missed enough questions to get a 61. Um, and on that exam, there was no like, oh, if I had done, I missed the calculation by one, or it was just, I got a 61%. And that's the worst feeling, like when you get a low score and there's no way to like justify it. It's like, oh, I didn't study enough. No, I definitely studied enough. I missed the calculation. No, I didn't miss any calculations. I just got it really wrong. And that's the worst feeling because it's like you don't even know where to start from there because you thought you knew the material, and then you end up getting a 61%. But then, um, I'm like, okay, I got two 61s, and now I'm in danger of failing the class. So I have like a D, I have a D in the class. I think I had a 67 for a while. And so I'm just doing every single extra credit opportunity, going to office hours, doing everything I can, and I end up getting it to like a 72% by final time. And at final time, I had already been studying for 4 weeks, 4 whole weeks, a month for this exam. And so I had what, 2 more weeks to study for this exam. And so I continue to study through that exam and take the exam. And I'm like, okay, well, I needed a 66% in order to keep the 70 in the class just to get a C and pass the class. Well, um, obviously I didn't. I got a 61%. And so I don't exactly know what I got wrong on the exam, but I was looking at like the Scantron thing. They literally send you like by email the Scantron document of what you got wrong, and it was like you got 10 questions wrong. And I was like, that is just, it registered impossible to me because I had studied so much for this exam, and when I was taking the test, I didn't feel that I was getting 10 problems wrong. I felt that I got two problems wrong, which I had to bubble in kind of last second. I had to just give the best answer. Um, but yeah, so I don't know exactly what I got wrong on that yet, but that's literally 361s. And like I said, again, the probability percent chance is just incredibly small. Um, but anyway, that pretty much sums up Math 140. If you guys want to know what teacher to take Math 140 with, I can definitely give you some suggestions. Just comment down below. If you are going to Penn State next year or you're going to take the course next semester, whatever, um, whatever's going on. But no, I'm not going to disclose the teacher that I had this issue with. Obviously, I'm just going to keep that confidential. Yeah, because there's just no need to expose that. If you want to know the best teachers to take on Math 140 with, just let me know down in the comments, and I'll post some teachers that were supposedly pretty good based on my friends that have taken the same course with them. So moving on to physics. So physics, physics was a different beast. The first exam, I was able to get like a 77. And so I was like, okay, that's smooth. Like first like 3 weeks in college, I able to get a 77 on a physics exam. I'm super cool. It's like I can probably just keep it around at 77, 75 to 77, and then I can get like a B in a class easily, just through homework, labs, resuscitation, all of that. And so I'm like, okay, for the first first exam, I knew what was going on. After the second exam, I knew completely nothing. Like 3 days before the exam, I was trying to learn in the everything in the entire like month that we had learned. And then I was able to, no, I was able to learn some, but then I ended up getting like a four, no, not 49, a 59, a 15, yeah, yeah, 59, I think. Yeah, 59 on the exam. And so I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Um, but uh, so I was like, okay, well, I got to do better the next exam. So for the next exam, I'm still in the same spot. I was just trying so hard on math, that I kind of forgot about physics and I didn't have that much time to study. So then I end up getting a 69 on the exam, I think. Um, and if I'm off on these numbers, I mean, obviously you all won't know, but it's within a 1 or 2 point margin. I just can't remember all of the grades, but I think about a 69 on that exam. And so I was like, okay, well, that's decent. I still have a possibility of a B in the class. But I just have to get, what was it, a 70 on the final. But that pretty much went out the window when I had to study 4 weeks for calc. And so I literally didn't pay attention to anything on um, after the third exam. And this has been, a regular occurrence, obviously, you see now. But um, basically, I a week before the final, I'm reading the syllabus of the physics, just the physics course, right? And it says that 60% of the final exam will be on the material covered after exam three. So that's 60% of material that I do not know and have not paid attention for the last 4 weeks. And so now I'm like, wow, well, I'm kind of screwed there. So I'm just trying to focus on math. And so, of course, I focus on math. I don't focus too much on physics. I don't really study for that much at all. I really have like 2 days. I tried to cram in a whole bunch of material, and then I ended up getting something like a 49 on the exam, but definitely under a 50. And so it's like, that's rough. So I ended up with like a C plus or a C in physics. And so I wouldn't stress, like, if you're going to Penn State, I wouldn't stress about the pluses and minuses because from what I'm seeing, like, I got A pluses in some classes and they just count as A. And so I don't know, but so I wouldn't stress too much about the minus or plus. Of course, if you're at a B and you can get a B plus by just doing something simple, go ahead and do that because always has the possibility of hiring your G or hiring your GPA. But yeah, I wouldn't stress about it too much. Um, so then that's one class that I failed. I got a D in that class. That's Math 140. And then that's one class that I passed, but it was still a low grade. So that's Physics with a C. So every other class I was able to get an A in. So my computer science class was not that hard. That's Comp Sci 131 for anybody that's taking that class. I'll put that on the screen so you can see what that looks like. But it's not that hard. I was able to get like a 96%, and it is an online class. You basically watch online videos and then you code it. I would recommend to code yourself, as if you copy stuff from the internet, it's probably going to be wrong and you're going to get like 70% on homework, and homework is like 90% of your grade or something crazy like that. But basically, yeah, I was able to get a 96 in comp sci, so that was pretty easy. The two electives that I took was a food agricultural class. So it's like a food ethics kind of class. I would really encourage people that are interested in like ethics, like the difference between wrong and right, and just interested in that kind of theory to take that. I think I thought that was an amazing class for me. I was actually interested in it. Um, if you ever watch the show The Good Place and you're interested in that, this is definitely the class to take. I wouldn't say that it's super hard. I was able to get like an A plus in it, but it is a lot of writing. So if you don't like to do a lot of writing, I would not take the class. And what I mean by a lot of writing, you have to do a summary of, I think, like 4 different readings every week. And so sometimes the readings are only like combined 20 pages, but sometimes it can be like 25 pages of just super like long nothing. It's kind of like you have to find a needle in a haystack. But he does, the professor that teaches that class, at least the person that I did, which was like Professor Rob Childs. He gives you a what is it called, a a layout of what exactly to be looking for in the reading. So if you think you can handle that and you're interested in that, I would definitely take that class. And then my fifth class was, what was it? Man, it was a seminar. So you're required to take a 1 year seminar. I'm not sure if this is the same for all majors, but I know definitely for like engineering majors, you're definitely required to take a engineering seminar, which just counts for 1 credit. And so I took an architectural engineering class. I would not recommend it if you're going into computer science or computer engineering or anything with computers. I just wouldn't recommend it. I was able to get an A+ in the class. It's not super hard, but it's just super boring. It only meets like 1 time a week. Well, I had it 1 time a week. I think there's an option to have it twice a week, but I had it 1 time a week. It was just like 75 minutes of just being tortured and just talked at. So, I definitely wouldn't recommend that. I didn't know that you could take seminars that were more specific to your major. So you can take like a computer engineering, what is it called, seminar, for those that are doing computer engineering and computer science. And that'll probably be more helpful for you guys and teach you how to do Comp Sci 131, which is just Python, by the way. And so all in all, I had 5 classes. They added up to 15 credits. And so then I did do an intro to, or like a orientation to Penn State, which was called MEPO. It's called the Multicultural Engineering Program Orientation. I think that's what it's called. But I'll put that on screen, and I'll probably put a link down below. I will be talking about that more in depth in another video, just for students that, what was I going to say? Just for students that will be attending Penn State that do want to kind of build a friend group, that are different races and all of that. And so that'll probably be in a different video, just like a video to how to get acclimated to Penn State. But yeah, I'll have that link down in the description if you guys want to sign up for next year's MEPO. That's what they call it. But yeah, that's pretty much a wrap on my first semester academically. Obviously, we're going to be trying a lot better strategies to get a higher GPA. But for people that are going for computer science, I might actually put this like earlier in the video, or I might give you timestamps. You'll probably already know that by the time I'm saying this. But for people that are taking up the major of computer science, I would definitely just say don't get yourself too down about whatever you get to the first year. What I'm realizing is that your GPA is going to be pretty much anywhere between like a 2.5 and a 3.3. If you're just, you're just a regular person. I mean, if you're super smart, of course, you can get, of course, a 3.7, 3.9, a 4.0. It's not impossible, but I would just say that it definitely is a huge shock taking math and physics at the college level together. It's a lot of work, and I would definitely say prepare yourself. If you're taking computer engineering, you're going to have to do chemistry on top of that. But you won't have computer science, so it kind of balances out. But I would say that chemistry was definitely harder than my computer science class, just because I had an online class and could kind of take it at my own speed and just learn it whenever I wanted to learn it. And of course I already had experience in computer science. But yeah, that kind of wraps up this video. I know it was a long video, but I definitely want to be as informative as possible for those that are either coming to Penn State or looking to do any of the classes that I took this semester. I definitely will be keeping you guys updated on how these classes are going. And of course, I will do a second semester recap at the end of the year, just like this, breaking everything down. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below any questions you guys had on this video. I know I probably left a ton of stuff out, and I'll probably try to put information on the side of the screen. That's just helpful information that I probably didn't mention, actually like speaking it. So yeah, I hope that helps you guys out. But like I said before, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.